Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome you back to round 2 of the Nerdbird Darude LANstorm Tournament Finals. It is between, if you cannot remember them, Do, as we know them, on the blue side, followed by Fury is the Sands from the red side. We saw that Do managed to pull off quite a commanding victory in the last game, but will Fury manage to make that kind of repeat? Will they manage to come back from behind and say to themselves, we are not going to get 2-0'd, we're going to get 2-1'd or something like that? I'm not quite sure. But coming into picking bands, we have Karma, Kale, and Heckram. Karma and Kale were consistently banned in the last game from when Do was playing against the members of Fury because of the fact that Karma and Kale are very much safe comfort picks on these targets. Heckram and Evelyn coming out as bans from the members of Fury. I would question why they wouldn't pick the Swain, considering that Swain was super powerful, but maybe they're hoping to hold on to it till the third. Aurelia, it's the same bans from the... Ooh, Kled coming back. They forced the Kled ban. Well, after that surprising play, and after the amount of crap talk that I gave the man for actually playing Kled, you know what? I'm a believer now. That champion's not that bad. Aurelia, though, coming out as the final ban. It's the same bans from one side, and it's almost the same bans from another side. I questioned the Evelyn ban, but it is what it is. Skarner coming out as the first pick from the members of Do. Now, here comes the Nautilus to be played for by the Fury. You know, dredge line from the bottom of the sea to the top of the mountain and trying to do what he can possibly do. Thinking about, no, it's not going to be locked. It's not just going to be hovered, it's going to be locked in. We saw Nautilus do an incredible amount of work come around, I believe it was 2 games ago, where it was just filled with utility and do with what it wanted to do. Looks like they're going to be trying to go for round 2 on the Nidalee pick. Wasn't quite impressed with the first round, but looks like they want to do something again with it. Janna coming out as the secondary, maybe for support. They really, really liked it, and it was actually banned from them, if memory serves, in the previous game. Graves, though, coming out as the secondary pick. It looks like these are just picks that they really want to do. They recognize that the pick and the composition worked very well in the first game, and it looks like they're going to be going for round 2 on that one just as well. If it isn't broken, why would you fix it? Meanwhile, you have Victor coming out as the tertiary pick for the members of Fury. Victor was banned, I believe, in one game before against them, but not quite this one. Victor's a very strong champion, as we've said all game. The ability to do such massive damage with your Chaos Storm, and the ability to have just such massive utility from Chaos Storm, from Gravity Field, from your Laser Beam, from your other Laser Beam, it's just ridiculous. However, we do have a change in AD carry this time around, not Jinx, or rather not Jhin, it is going to be Jinx. Jinx is allowed this game. I've actually spoken to the AD carry on the side of, Fury, and he has just said if he's allowed to play Jinx, he will most likely 70% of the time pick the Jinx, so he obviously is a bit more comfortable on that. Sion coming out to be played by Infernal Susan, the top laner from the members of Do. Sion has actually had quite the storied career at this tournament. Sion doing incredibly well in at least 2 of the 3 games that we've seen him in beforehand, and maybe they're going to be looking for a third of 4. Maybe, because he was unkillable in one of those games, and he was doing massive amounts of CCing effectiveness in another one. Zerat, though, looking to get the first... nope, it's just going to be Swain, because Swain is just super good, and realistically, the problem is that Fury had no actual available answer against Swain in that last game, and that's the problem. That's the biggest problem of all things. Now, this is the question. Now, undoubtedly... No, actually not undoubtedly. Victor's actually going to be the mid laner right there. I was actually going to ask because undoubtedly in that last game, before we could actually do MVPs, I would argue that one of the weaker parts of the members of Fury in general was that their mid laner was able to do genuinely nothing that entire game. It was effectively a 5v4 for the most part, with some various amounts of utility from the event horizon that Vega was able to get out at will, but it just was not good enough to be able to deal with the sheer amount of damage and the sheer amount of just nightmares that were being inflicted upon it by the enemy team. So it looks like they're going to be going for the Lulu pick, actually. Lulu support with a Jinx. Ooh, this could be very, very tasty. Considering the fact of the matter is, Lulu top lane with Nidalee in the jungle, followed by Victor as a mid laner, Jinx as an AD carry, Nautilus support, accompanied by a top lane Scion, mid lane Swain, AD carry Graves, support Janna, and jungle, well, jungle Scorn. Sorry about that. These team compositions are weird. These team compositions aren't that bad, and these team compositions can go the distance, I feel. I actually like the composition from Fury a lot more than I like the composition that they pulled out in the last game. But I will say this, against a team like Dew, it is going to be relatively difficult to actually beat, considering the fact is, Dew is very, very good at what they do. Oh, that's a bad rhyme. Nonetheless, their team composition operates very similarly to what they were doing in the last game, except they have dropped a little bit of the damage that they would be afforded by the actual Kled in the form of Scion now. And they don't have the ability to do as much work as they did beforehand with the Janna pick. However, that being said, it's still a Janna. You're still going to be able to do quite a bit of work with it, regardless of the scenario, regardless of the time. Morgana was a very effective champion, but Morgana really wasn't doing a whole heck of a lot against Fury. That was arguably the weakest part, and the part that made the least amount of sense, if I'm at all honest, against the members and against that in that team composition. However, that being said, I will say Fury has drafted a much better team in retrospect than they did in the first time. They managed to say, okay, we are fighting tanks, and these tanks are not dying quickly, if at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in an AD carry that specializes in destruction of high health targets. And that AD carry is always, or most of the time, going to be Jinx accompanied by Vayne. Vayne, though, you pick Vayne in this composition against a Swain, you are just asking for trouble against a Skarner as well. You want something that fights from the back line, not from the mid to front line. And top of that, you have a Lulu who just makes it so that you have utility to the gills, and you have a Nautilus for additional peeling pressure. This feels like a team composition that is built entirely around the ideal of just saying we need people to stay in a single place, and we also need people to not be doing damage right now. So that's why they picked the Lulu, that's why they picked the Nautilus. I love this team composition. I think it's very, very good, if only on the slightly weak side on the front line. However, what they should be fighting is more like a tactical retreat. They do the engagement, fight in the 5v4, and then take them from behind, because they'll be able to do a tremendous amount of damage, and they'll be able to live for long with the heals from Nidalee, with the massive health gain from Lulu, with the amount of damage that they'll be able to bring on from the tuck that Lulu has at her disposal, from Glitter Lance, from the sheer amount of damage that Victor's able to bring to bear. It's just a very well-composed team. The only question is, will they be able to play it in any way that is meaningful or good? Now, what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Type in your hashtag DoWin or hashtag FuryWin if you believe, or hashtag SandWin, I suppose, is what we're doing. Maybe. I'm not quite sure. But type it in, see who you think is going to win, and we'll figure it out in post. I believe that they have some really strong compositions right now. I'm actually rather excited to see what happens. But that should be relatively interesting, if nothing else. Just want to see some good Jinx play. I'm normally an AD carry main, but this season I've decided to play a little bit more top lane because of the fact that the Assassin update just makes my soul burn. It's so bad. Or it's not so bad, it's pretty bad playing an AD carry right now. Ooh. Makes me hurt. Makes me hurt a little bit. That being said, we will be right back as the game loads in. See you in a bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give me a round of applause, or give yourself a round of applause. You've stayed through it for the entirety, and right now, Do will be possibly making themselves their own personal history by becoming the victors of this Darude LANstorm, or potentially could Fury try to take another game and make it into a 3-game series? Who knows? We'll be able to find out, though. Nidalee landing a spear already. Improvement, ladies and gentlemen. They'll be getting their own self a lovely little blue side. Whoever said that blue side's OP? We've had a few games today that's actually had a blue side loss. So, good job. Good job, red side, for stepping up. Right, guys? Right? I think so. That being said, well, I like the bottom lane. I like these bottom lanes, actually. I really genuinely do. I like Graves. Janna sounds like it would be fun. On top of the fact that Nautilus Jinx is just... It's an optimistic kind of fun for me. I like that style of play, where it's just you engage, you give your AD carry a little bit of assistance, and your AD carry gets rather massively fed from it. BF sorted in a Runon's Hurricane on a Jinx is just genuinely the most ridiculous thing in the world. On top of that, you can do a lot of things with that kind of composition because you have the defensive peeling and you have the offensive peeling that you require in any good situation. That being said, I am actually rather interested in how well this Lulu is able to do and deal with the actual Scion, because this is not a team composition. This is not a matchup that I've seen in a very long time, effectively. Meanwhile, Victor not doing exceptionally well, but not doing exceptionally bad either. Which is, it's bold, in all fairness. Bold in the way that it's not a complete loss, but it is not great, to be perfectly frank with you. That being said, we'll actually switch these things up a little bit so we can get massively good updates at will, at command, on command, doing what we need to do. Though this mid lane matchup seems to be, even at lower levels, seems to be a little bit better for Victor, because the Veigar pick in that last game was just so heavily punished, it was not even funny. That last game had a genuinely distinct lack of abilities from Veigar at command, and this time I hope that Victor's able to do it a little bit more. I think he has, because he's been able to showcase that he's able to do a little bit more. So good, more power to Victor right now. The only problem is that Swain is still up by an entire potion. Meanwhile, Nidalee is up by 3. It looks like Skarner is killing a few more camps than Nidalee, but Nidalee is going for, just went straight from what seems to be blue to red. Ooh, looking for an engagement on to this Victor. That's going to be Never Move going in. That's a lot of damage. Will this be First Blood? It will be First Blood going to Nidalee. Excellent job by Nidalee. What's real? That was actually a repeat of the last game, except the last game that gank acts just abhorrently failed. Meanwhile, Lulu trying to do what she can with some excellent CS. Ooh, Skarner coming in from behind. This could be very, very bad. However, they're fighting in the minions right now, and Scion is in an ugly way right now. She will have to flash tuck to get out of assistance. Nope, she's just going to die. Shame that. Probably shouldn't have burned flash, but that is what that is. Good job, Skarner, though, for the rapid roam. Good job, Lulu, though, for taking a kill off of this Scion. Scion, though, getting an assist is no helpful matter. Fiendish Codex going over to Madam Lulu. She's going to be going over for a Morellonomicon thing, which is actually rather interesting, which means that the ideal of just going massive cooldown reduction on all of these mages is still heavily prevalent, even if you are top lane, which is good, in all fairness, but it is not... I don't know. I don't play enough mid lane to give, I think, a viable comment, in all fairness. That being said, looks like, oh, Ghost burned onto Victor because of a potential scare from the Skarner. I question that, but then again, I'm trash, right? Right. Doing what he can. Trying to do what he can at any rate. Ooh, that's going to be Dredgeline going in. Not quite managing to hit the Graves or the Janna. Instead, hitting a minion, doing what he can. Ooh, the Thunderlord's damage from the... Oh, my goodness. Lulu is just throwing a masterclass on this Scion. Scion not quite managing to meet it up. Glitterlance going out big. That'll be the Q, trying to get the Colossus ability. That's going to be the Colossus. That'll be the shield coming in. Massive minion damage. That's going to be Scion's passive. will proc again. Lulu getting another solo kill on to Scion, but giving another kill over to Skarner. I question the effectiveness of that in all fairness. 3-2, however, with a 500 gold lead in favor of the members of Fury, though that's a problem. You know, it's not a very big gulf, and on the top of the fact that you're giving Skarner, who has historically been one of their better players, some gold is never very good. Ubiquitous is a very, very good player in general. So giving a man gold is just kind of enabling a heroin addict. You're just giving them the abilities to destroy you. Or destroy themselves. No, it's destroy you. Ooh, Johnny getting dredgelined by the Nautilus. Not quite getting the root off from the Jinx abilities, but it is what it is. That ability is relatively hard to do. I think they actually nerfed the distance on it one patch ago. Or, not one patch ago, but there was a patch where they nerfed the actual distance from it. Ooh, Scion in an ugly way from this Lulu. Lulu just throwing another masterclass on him, trying to do what she can, kind of following him up, forcing him to do just whatever he doesn't want to do. Ugly, that 31 CS on the Lulu is no laughing matter right there. Meanwhile, Victor is doing relatively well for himself at 28 CS against 39. Ooh, that's going to be the immediate route. However, can't go very, very far. Skarner, or rather Jinx, with the immediate attempted flash will not be good enough, and that's going to be the exhaust on the Skarner. This could be a complete wipe of the bottom lane. Very, very, very poor indeed. However, Nautilus looks like he's going to be going backwards. Will get the root off onto the Skarner and will be effective in retreat. Unfortunate that. Not very, very optimal, if I'm at all honest, but it is what it is. Fury, very good job by Skarner. Skarner is just everywhere right now. And Skarner being able to build an early Ruby Crystal on a longsword to increase his stats against those targets is just quite the coup, if I'm at all honest. However, now Lulu is level 6, able to try to deal with the gank just a little bit more. That's going to be Gravity Field coming out, very, very big. That's going to be the stun. Chaos Field as well from Victor. Not quite managing to kill the Swain, but not dying as well is rather key right there. Swain, though, being able to deal a lot of damage and not taking a lot of damage, even at only level 7.5, even at only minute 7.5, and at level 7 at that. Very poor from that Nidalee. Not quite making any more shows after that initial amount of fireworks in the middle lane. Somewhat questioning that, but it is what it is in all fairness. A lot of damage still going out. That is going to be Madame Lulu in an ugly position, both Skarner and Scion once more, 4-3, and it is unfortunate that that is happening again. Skarner is just consistently everywhere in both top, middle, and in the bottom lane. Nidalee, meanwhile, has just not been doing a whole hell of a lot. She's down by farm. She's not been ganking that much. I don't understand what she's trying to wait for, in all fairness. She's just kind of farming her jungle, and I don't understand why you would be doing that in this scenario. Meanwhile, it looks like the top lane turret is going down in a heavy amount. Nidalee just can't quite manage to deal with it, it seems. It's rather saddening, in all fairness. Nidalee, though, from the back, looking to do some kind of spear damage, in all fairness. Gonna try to get the actual stuff that is needed to be done. Unfortunate, but no less expected, relatively. Meanwhile, Jinx at 67 farm against 32 on the Graves. We've seen this. We saw this last game. Graves is very easily able to play from a deficit. This Graves player is rather good. It seems to be one of his comfort picks. His pocket pick against anything, I suppose, at that point. Blue buff going over to Swain. Swain's not going to be running out of health anytime soon, nor mana, which is rather unfortunate for the Victor, who is already having a relatively difficult time actually playing against him. He is at the first core of the Hex core, but that doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. He's going to go in. That's going to be Gravity. That's going to be Lulu, though, coming in for the engagement. Chaos Storm going out from Victor. Not quite managing to meet the damage, or not quite managing to meet Swain in general, realistically. He is out of mana. He's looking to do something else, really, at this point, but it's unfortunate that that happened, in all fairness. Lulu up ahead in farm against the Scion, and Lulu also up ahead, or rather, Jinx up ahead in farm against the Graves. However, the problem lies mostly with the Skarner, who's up ahead by 4 kills, which is absolutely ridiculous. Never Move going to be coming out relatively quick, I assume, but it doesn't look like it will be, actually, which is questionable by the Swain. But it is, as we've said numerous times, this actually a tournament. People have their reactions, people have their personal identities, and besides, I'm trash, so what do I know at that point? I think that's personal, fair critique. Glitter Lance from Lulu is doing drastically lesser damage to this Scion, specifically after he bought Null Magic Mantle and a Negatron Cloak to counter the amount of damage that's coming out. That'll be Dredgeline coming out from Nautilus, not quite managing to meet the cut, but however, managing to root the Graves into place. That's going to be Lulu, though, in an ugly position right now. Will have to immediately ultimate herself. No kind of shield to actually deal with it. Glitter Lance coming out straight and true, but will it manage to make the cut? And it will manage to kill herself right there from a suicide by Scion and by Skarner. Well done by Skarner. She's just kind of shoving down this top lane because he can't deal with it. But I question, where is Nidalee in this game? What is she doing at this point? Because I do not see her. I do not understand what she could possibly be doing that's so much more vastly important than everything else. I mean, she does have her item now. I guess I can only assume she was waiting for her jungle item. That's what she did in the last game, I assume. That's going to be the immediate flash. Nidalee coming in from behind. That'll be the spear, and it's good. Unfortunately, Victor dies in the process. Giving a kill over to Swain. Swain will complete the Catalyst of Aeons and manage to get out of there relatively quickly. But was it worth it? I guess that's what Nidalee was worrying about, and what Nidalee was trying to purchase was her item. But I question why. That's going to be Depth Charge coming out immediately from the members of the Nautilus, but will it be effective enough to kill the Graves? No, it will not. Not on top of Super Mega Death Rocket. Skarner coming out big, trying to do a singular type of teleport from, my God, Lulu. That was just a bunch of gibberish. I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Lulu attempted to teleport, was got immediately countered by the Scion. Not effective whatsoever. Probably for the best, in all honesty, because she probably would have died if she had gone down there. Very, very effective, though, from her. Lulu in an ugly position right now will give the Scion the necessary level of plush toys that he needs to be at any given point in time. Lulu, though, kind of suffering right now from the Scion. Scion doing a lot more work than you would have otherwise expected. Ooh, this could be very, very bad for Swain. Swain getting stunned? Not quite. But there's going to be Chaos Storm following from the Victor. Victor, though, going straight back over into the enemy team, and right now is in an ugly position because he is currently having to deal with the Skarner. Skarner not quite managing to stop the hunt yet. However, this Lulu is currently dealing a very much losing battle against that team. Skarner, once I have said once before, and I'm going to say it again, is genuinely everywhere right now. That's going to be Scion, though, looking for the engagement. No, quite stunned. That's going to be the ultimate from Lulu. Lulu trying to get some level of extents. That's great! Outplay by Lulu. Going to go for the Glitter Lance and immediately to try to slow the Scion. Excellent job by Lulu. Excellent attempt at an outplay by Lulu. Trying to do what she can in order to mitigate the amount of stuff that Scion has at his beck and call. Meanwhile, Skarner looking to actually do a roam up the top lane, as he has been wont to do this entire game. Not quite going to finish it because of the fact that he doesn't want anybody to know about it. However, he did get warded out. As you can see in the mini map there, it's going to be Jinx doing what she can. Not quite a tremendous performance at this point, but able to do a tremendous amount of damage nonetheless. Double Dorans with a Hex Core for Victor is not exactly orthodox, but it is what it is at this point. It's the only thing that he can really afford, I'm pretty sure. That's going to be Nidalee going in for a spear, not quite managing to find the mark. That'll be Dredgeline coming in from Nautilus Ultimate immediately following. That'll be a lot of damage, though, coming out. Will it kill them all? Yes, it will. Excellent job, though. Ooh, Nidalee dying from a great Graves Ultimate in order to win the day. Lulu just having to retreat from the first tower bonus, from the tower destruction. First tower was already given in the middle lane from when Victor had died once more. Unfortunately, Graves will have to flash because of a very poor tactical decision in attempting to press the attack on a Jinx Nautilus when he does not have the necessary amount of stuff to his name to actually deal with that stuff. It looks like Jinx, though, is going to be taking this first turret. However, Swain going to be coming down from a teleport. Will it be effective enough? I doubt it. However, that's actually not Swain. That's Scion. Scion, though, will be coming in. GLP is massively effective. Never move. Not really needed because you do not need to move in order to die from Swain. You don't even need to not move, rather. That's a lot of double negatives right there. Not quite a fan. Double kill, though, going over to Swain. over to Scion, rather. Ooh, this could be very bad. Victor in an ugly fashion right now, getting immediately smited by this Skarner. Meanwhile, Lulu just trying to do what she can. It's an ugly situation to be in right now for the members of, well, of Fall. Sands? Anger? Sands are dealing with a lot of problems, realistically. Sands are dealing with a lot of problems because of the fact that their Nidalee was kind of MIA in the early game, and because of that, Skarner was able to do whatever the hell he wanted against the enemy team. They're going to be able to take this Mountain Drake free of farm and free of any actual will and want. Meanwhile, you have the members of everybody else not quite managing to do whatever they want. Like, Fall is not able to do anything that they want in this game state, and meanwhile, you have the entirety of the members of Do doing just about anything that they want at any given point. Skarner has been given unlimited freedoms to do at any single point anything at any point, and it's ridiculous in all fairness. GLP coming out from Swain, not quite managing to meet the cut. However, that's going to be the initial Nidalee assault going in heavily on this Swain. Swain in an ugly position right now, going in for the burst, and that'll be Victor taking it. However, no turret kill for the members of Jinx. Jinx trying to do what she can. That's going to be a lot of damage. Jinx doing fairly well in fairness, but is relatively low. Is actually really quite low, if I'm at all honest. Unfortunately, taking the second part of that Graves Q was not exactly dietarily recommended, and because of that, she will unfortunately fall down quite poorly. 27.2 to 24.4. Do is in the lead against Sands. Sands, it does have a little bit of trouble. They have a lot of gold separated around targets. Scion, though, has built ZZ Rot first in order to counteract the Lulu, and is doing a relatively decent job. He's 3-3-3. Meanwhile, you have Skarner, who's 4-0-1, Swain 2-3-2, and even Graves has gotten a kill. However, Graves is behind by almost, my goodness, 30 or 70 farm against the Jinx, who is managing to make up a lot of that stuff with the assistance of the Runon's Hurricane. Runon's Hurricane is a massive power spike for that champion, for most AD carries that run around the concept of basic attacking. However, does this mean that she's completely outside of the possible realms? Oh, this could be potentially bad for Scion. My apologies. I'm just speaking gibberish right now. Does this mean that Jinx is out of the woods right now? No, it does not. Jinx is currently having to deal with a lot of situations. We're at 5 at top right now. I question the effectiveness of this. I guess they're trying to do a full-on roam in the top lane against Scion and against the actual Janna. And it's doing relatively effective things, but I question its effectiveness can complete. Oh, that turret's going to be going down. Very poor attempt and very poor idea by Lulu in order to actually deal with it. Lulu from the side, though, looking to do some level of engagement, but not quite finding the engagement that was actually in any way good. That'll be the second tier turret going down. She probably should have teleported to a minion or to even a ward at that point. But that being said, 10-7 with a 3K gold lead in favor of the members, or rather almost a 4K gold lead in favor of the members of the Do. But it's Sands is trying to recoup losses, but they're making some very critical macro mistakes and rotational mistakes that really need to be addressed. Ooh, this could be very, very bad. I don't quite know what Jinx is trying to do right there. She could have tried to engage onto the Skarner because she had the assistance of her Nidalee right by her, but I don't know what kind of game they're playing right now. Swain in a very commanding position against this Jinx, doing quite a bit of work. She's kind of forced to back off right there. They're kind of playing 3 different games of League of Legends, and they don't quite understand what they're supposed to be doing separately. And this is potentially very bad. Victor in an ugly position. That'll be the immediate damage, and that will be Chaos Storm popped along with Gravity Field, but it's not going to be good enough. Swain in the back line will manage to take down the Jinx. Janna being taken down, though, by a latent Chaos Storm from Victor. But that is a small price to pay for 2 kills on 2 very important carries this game. Unfortunate, really. 12-8 with 5K gold lead in favor of the members of Q. And that, or rather, of Do. Oh, Lulu trapped between a rock and a hard place. Ultimate going out immediately. That's going to be Nidalee trying to do what she can and trying to take and deal the damage that she believes needs to actually occur. No actual follow-up in Dredgeline from Nautilus, but it is probably for the best because they cannot hope to fight them in open combat right now, it seems. They're just unable to properly team fight, and that's mostly because their early game was not so much pitiful, but it was decidedly poor. And they are forced into a situation where they have to play from very, very far behind, and that is not a situation that you want to be in whatsoever. Meanwhile, 20-14, 12-8 at 2016. 1-4. There are no turrets actually taken on the side. Ooh, this could be very, very bad for Swain, actually. However, that's going to be Scion coming in straight up. Will manage to take the kill onto Victor because he's trying to melee for him. No actual fronting pressure on them. Nidalee will be on the side looking to take an engagement on to the Swain. Swain doing being done incremental damage, but incremental damage is still damage nonetheless. Zap coming out. Will manage to get the slow. No ultimate follow-up from Super Mega Death Rocket on the Jinx. It's already been used. That'll be the magic resistance on these targets is absolutely insane, and the follow-up it will be suitably followed. Frontline from Skarner is absolutely ridiculous, not taking any damage right now, and that is going to be a Jinx and a Nautilus that shortly face the fall of the Dodo. Unfortunate that, and they are looking to actually get this turret as well. Nidalee is just entirely too low to actually contest and skirmish with them at this point. Meanwhile, you have Lulu on the side trying to do what she can. This team composition is very good, but it relies completely around kind of engaging and not losing the early game nearly as much as they did. And oh, this is very, very bad. Lulu ultimate in order to try to save herself will be relatively effective. That's going to be the Chaos Storm from Victor in order to try to get these targets away from the actual opening and give Lulu some time, which it did. But this is very, very difficult for Fall to actually do anything. Very, very difficult. 15-8 with a 7K gold lead in favor of Dew. Inferno Drake going over to Dew, which is quite good. It's a very good Drake, and it makes their advantage even more difficult and hard to swallow than it already is, because that's the major issue, is that you're going to have to deal with champions that are very, very fed. You have no actual incremental damage because you're not that far ahead, and you force them into a position where they're nearing the end of the mid game whilst you are still just entering that particular part of the game, and that is never a good feeling in all fairness. Hex Core has just been completed, or has been completed for a little bit of a while now by Victor, but even then the Hex Core is just raw stat stick. It's not giving you any particular abilities. It's not giving you anything particular in terms of like an Infinity Edge, which doubles your crit, or Rabadon's, or I'm sorry, Rabadon's is more of a stat stick as well, but like GLP, which allows you to activate it and get you a miniature skill. You are effectively just given some mana regeneration and some AP. Ooh, this could be very bad. It's a Death Brush straight out of Season 1 right now. This could be very, very bad. Graves with the actual hook. That's going to be Skarner, though, going in immediately. That's going to be the Ghost Root going in immediately onto Skarner. Skarner trying to do what he can. That's going to be the Choo-Choo from Hell from Mr. Scion. It's an absolute disaster right now. Lulu trying his best. Jinx was managed to get just ginormified by Lulu, but that's not good enough. That's going to be the immediate damage. Chaos Storm from Victor will be a successful and taking out one, at least that's Graves, but will it be enough? No, it will not. That is relatively unfortunate. 2 down for the price of a Graves, which is not consistently bad. I mean, because Graves theoretically is worth more, but this turret will go down. No laser beams to stop its advance. Nidalee is there right now in order to try to stop the advancement right now, but she is not doing a damn fine job of it, considering the fact that she's just so underfed. Everybody on the side of Sands is just so underfed right now. Unfortunate that, but it is what it is. Scion going in with Nevermore, or rather Swain going in with Nevermore, or Never Move, rather. I think I'm just saying Nevermore because it's the Edgar Allan Poe reference, and I am genuinely not so much ashamed of that. Swain still, or rather Scion still frontlining, doing a lot of damage. That's going to be the Lulu ultimate being popped onto Lulu herself because the damage is just relatively intense. That's going to be Swain trying to do what he can. That'll be Dredgeline coming out from Nautilus, forcing Swain into an ugly position, having to flash, and will get out of that situation. Not so much free of cost, but, well, not dead, which is a direct improvement over his competitors, who are very much dead. However, there's going to be Swain taking care of the blue buff for himself. 19-9, 9K gold lead in favor of the boys from Do, as we got every single time I say that, I feel like an absolute idiot. But that is what it is. That is what it is worth, right? But that's why they made that particular team they made that particular team name so that the caster, when they have to cast, it's do coming up the mid lane. It's just, you're supposed to sound like an idiot. It's required at that point. Lulu trying to do what she can in order to get out of a situation. It looks like a potential Baron play, or at least Baron warding, is happening around. They want to do something with it, but will they be able to do something with it is the proper question we have to ask. Graves in the bottom lane pushing upwards with the control ward just right there. Glitter Lance from Lulu not quite hitting anything. Will manage to try to group as one. Graves still pushing in the bottom lane. This could be a potential free Baron if they chose to do so, because all of their attention is split into the bottom lane, but it is looking like they just want the incremental win, and they're going for the turret right now. Swain with Never Move doing quite a bit of work and forcing players to just move to his beat, which is rather effective. GLP coming out live. Will be on cooldown for a little bit. They're going to be taking this top lane turret. They cannot actually contest this, really. Not right now. Only Lulu is going to be able to be there, and that'll just be a single Glitter Lance, and then that's about it. But that's the thing with all these carries. Victor coming up live, going to do a little bit of a laser beam, trying to actually engage further. However, there it goes, and that's going to be Never Move, ultimated in the middle of everybody's targets. Chaos Storm coming out from Victor will be relatively effective. However, that's not going to be good enough. Victor dying to Scion damage, because Scion is just in the middle of the enemy team. Nautilus trying to do what he can, but he can't do that much. The entirety of the backline is almost completely dead. Jinx is the only one realistically alive next to Nidalee, but Nidalee is not able to bring her damage to bear, much like Jinx is. The turret is going to be falling, and they're in open retreat right now. This is a complete disaster for Sands, and this very well could be the championship, ladies and gentlemen. This could very well be the tournament, and that's Scion still on the front line, taking no damage from the unlaser beam. Laser beams. Swain with the big damage onto Nidalee will take him down, and that is going to be one turret almost down. The Jinx is the only one that's still up, trying to shovel with rockets. Never Move going down immediately on her face, taking her down immediately to damage. That'll be Nautilus trying to do what he can. The damage is absolutely real. Graves falling, Swain falling, but will Scion be able to actually take it down? He does have passive still. Exhaust has been taken down. He's taking very little damage right now. That'll be the flash. Xpeke is coming back in regal form. They still have to deal with the passive. Janna is dead. That's going to be Achilles at the heels of Troy, and taking it down, taking themselves the victory of the tournament. Excellent job. Excellent job, Darude. You have done the work of legends. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a victory for Darude LANstorm. That was a victory for Darude Sandstorm, theoretically. But most of all, that was a victory for Do and all of their illustrious members, as we can see right here. Now, MVP. MVP will, of course, have to be given, I feel, in complete part to their top laner, Infernal Susan. Scion, who played Kled in the first game, was such an effective member of that team and was able to do just everything that he could possibly want to do at any given point, and he was incredible at it. With a honorable mention going over to Skarner, who was just everywhere in that last game, and truly proved how effective a jungler can be if they put their heart to it and understand how to play the map. MVPs, though, coming in from Sands. We saw a lot of great plays in the very early game from Lulu, followed by some decent stuff from Jinx and Nautilus. Excellent play from them. Nonetheless, that will be Darude LANstorm, everybody. It has been a genuinely magical few hours. I recognize that we had that one little mess up or multiple little mess ups from internet connections, but it has genuinely been an absolute honor to cast from you. The only thing I'd like to add is if you'd like to play for Nerdbird, please just use the website nerd-bird.utsa or .net, I believe it is. Beyond that, we have a Facebook page, Nerdbird UTSA, and if you want to play, it's free, and you can do what you need to do. Lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute honor to cast for you. It has been an absolute honor to watch these illustrious players play to their heart's content. And sadly, I must wish you an excellent day, an excellent night, and an excellent whatever it may be, wherever the direction of your sun is at. You guys have an excellent night, and I wish you the best. I've been Conan the Cleric, and I'm out.